Alright, kiddos, so today we're going to work with lesson 17 and 4/10, stem and leaf plots and histograms. The state of Texas, the state of Texas expects you all to be able to represent numeric data graphically, including stem and leaf plots and histograms. Alright, which brings us to our first section here, making a stem and leaf plot. You can use a stem and leaf plot to display numeric data. Each data value consists of a stem and a leaf. The 12 members of the high school basketball team have a free throw drill. Each player attempts 50 free throws. The number of free throws made by each player is given, which is right there, kiddos. Group the data by the 10th digits, then order the data from least to greatest. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is when it comes to place values here, let's say here we have our decimal point. If we have a number here, that's the ones. If we have another number, that's the tens. Then it's the hundreds, and so forth like that, okay? So that's what they meant here. So in this case, ladies and gentlemen, all the numbers that we have, or all the data that we have, are already in the tens. All right, so now let's order them in order from least to greatest. So here, let's go and cross them out. That way we don't get them confused here. We've already done 19, which is the smallest one. Next one is 23, 25, 29, 30, 32. Next one we have is 33. Next one we have is 35. We have another 35. And we have 36, and last we have 44. All right, so there we go, ladies and gents. My suggestion when you guys are working with these, count the numbers that you guys have. That way you guys can make sure, well, you guys know there's 12, but just make sure you guys have 12 values here as well, okay? That's my suggestion. So there we did that. Letter B, organize data in a stem and leaf plot. Use the tens digits as stems. Use the ones digits as leaves. Write the leaves in increasing order. So right here, ladies and gentlemen, we had 19. So the way we would represent that would be like this. So we would put the 9, the ones placed right there, which is the leaves. So it's 19. Next one is 23, which is already there, 25, and so forth like that. And this is what we should have had in the end, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and then they're asking us on the bottom to reflect. Where are most of the data values? How can you tell from looking at the stem and leaf plot? Well, ladies and gents, as you all can read the answer there, if you look at the stem and leaf plot, most of the data is found in between these two right here, between 23 and 36. Remember, here are the tens values, or the tens places, and here we have the leaves, which is the ones, okay? Next, analyzing a stem and leaf plot. All right, so they're telling us that a stem and leaf plot gives a picture of the distribution of a set of data. You can find measures of center and spread from a stem and leaf plot. Example number 1. They're telling us that Val's quiz scores are shown in the stem and leaf plot, which is right there. Letter A, find the median and the mean. All right, so here, now let's go through the different things, steps on letter A. Median. There are 15 quiz scores. The median is the 8th value. Do you guys understand how there were 15 quiz scores? Well, here, the reason why they came up with this here is, let's say, for example, her lowest score was 32. That was her lowest score. Did she have any in the 40s or 50s or 60s? No, she didn't. However, next she did have a 70. You see how there's a stem and there's a leaf, 70. So next we took care of that one. Next one's going to be 75. We took care of that one. Next one's going to be, she had another 75. So we took care of that one. So what they did here, ladies and gentlemen, they placed them in order from least to greatest. Remember, it's exactly the same as we did previously. You guys order them in order from least to greatest. And remember how I showed you guys cross them up from each side until you guys get into the middle number. And that's how they got that there. So in this case, ladies and gentlemen, count the leaves from the top until you reach the 8th leaf. Or this is what they did. 1, 87. I mean, you guys can do what they're suggesting, ladies and gents, but once you guys have a solid foundation in that aspect. But if you guys are still a little iffy, my suggestion is just to cross them off from each side. That's my suggestion. But if you guys can understand that there's 15, the middle one would be 8, then by all means. Math is beautiful. There's a lot of ways of getting the correct answer, okay? So that was, but I was just showing you guys how to find the median. Now let's look at the next step here. Let me erase that right there. All right, so next. To find the mean, find the sum of the data values and divide by 15. Remember guys, the mean is another word for the average. You have to add all of them here, as I did there, and you divide them by however many you added, which was 15. So in this case, the mean is 82, or the average is 82. Letter B. Which measure of center best represents the data? Justify your answer. It's like, which one would you use better, like to describe it? Would you use the mean or the median? And this is what they're telling you guys. Look at the shape of the distribution. The quiz score of 32 is much lower than the other scores, so it is an outlier. But you might have had a bad day that day. If the outlier were not included, the mean score would be higher. The median 87 better represents the data. Okay, so they're just saying like the middle one would be the best one. I'd like for you to go ahead and work on 2 and 3, please. Alrighty, gents, and this is what y'all should have had. Alrighty, so now moving on. Using a histogram. A histogram is a type of bar graph whose bars represent the frequencies of numeric data within intervals. Example number 2. A bird watcher counts and records the number of birds at a bird feeder every morning at 9 for several days. Make a histogram of the data. So let's go ahead and analyze this here. Step 1, make a frequency table. Okay, so looking at the table, ladies and gents, they're telling us to divide the data into equal sized intervals of 4. Make a frequency table. So what that means, ladies and gentlemen, in this case, how many times was there 1, 2, 3, or 4 birds, which means 1 through 4. If you guys look at the data that they gave you guys here, let's see. How many numbers are between 1 and 4? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 numbers that are between 1 and 4, so that's how they came up with a frequency of 8. Next, how many were between 5 and 8? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 4, right there. So that's how they came up with 4. And 9 through 12, we have 1, 2, which is 2, and the last one is 14. Okay, I'm just explaining how they came up with the frequency table. All right, so step number 2, make a histogram. The intervals are listed along the horizontal axis. The vertical axis shows the frequencies. For each interval, draw a bar to show the number of days in that interval. The bars should have equal widths. They should touch but not overlap. Letter B. What does the shape of the distribution tell you about the situation? The highest bar is for the interval of 1 through 4, which means that on more than half the days, 8 out of the 15, the birdwatcher saw only 1 through 4 birds at the feeder. The bars decrease in height, so it was more likely for the birdwatcher to see fewer birds. Which brings us to your turn, number 4. I'd like for y'all to go ahead and try number 4, please. All right, this is what y'all should have had. Alrighty, I'd like for you guys to go ahead and try the guided practice 1 through 4. And the independent practice, ladies and gentlemen, 1 through 8. 1 through 8, please. And then tomorrow or today, later on at 12 o'clock, I will go ahead and create probably a Google form, which I'm still looking into, so you guys can submit your answers for these previous 3 lessons, okay? For these previous lessons that we've already gone over. It's still a work in progress, so I'm working on that, okay? But just hold on to your answers, that way you guys can submit them. I'll open it up today, hopefully around noon, if not, no later than 4. However, I will not make it due until tomorrow at 9 p.m. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you all are safe and healthy, and so are your families, okay? Stay safe, ladies and gents.